do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all?
I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship. I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car, none of this is happening.
Did he say he shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship? Did he? Is he saying that he cheated? And furthermore, he's not even answering the question directly. And this is probably why the jury didn't believe him. Hey everyone, Just Be here, and I am going to be breaking down the Jonathan Majors interview that he just did with Good Morning America, exclusively only with them, after the results of his trial. And, you have to keep saying the word alleged, domestic abuse with his girlfriend, Grace Jabari. I've held off on any commentary for Jonathan Majors all this time, but now that he's up and kind of talking about it publicly, it's in the public domain. So, here we go. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Now, our ABC News exclusive with actor Jonathan Majors. Lindsay, you sat down with him.
Yeah, this is Majors' first interview since he was convicted of misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment. And there's really a lot to unpack here. He calls the 2-year relationship with Grace Jabari toxic, dangerous, and unhealthy. But he is adamant. He says there was absolutely no physical abuse.
I told you, time isn't what you think.
Less than a year ago, the name Jonathan Majors was followed by talk of critical and box office success, skyrocketing fame, even Oscar buzz.
I'm coming for everything.
But this morning, a different conversation surrounds that marquee name.
Something about sitting here right now and looking at you and understanding the gravity of the situation.
She ain't moved by them tears. Wow.
A situation that I, in many ways, put myself in.
The actor spoke exclusively with ABC News for the first time after being convicted in late December for harassment and misdemeanor reckless assault in the 3rd degree, which could carry a penalty of up to a year behind bars.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
I felt like it was time.
Some big pants, though.
A lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture. It's about responsibility and coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story.
Okay.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was absolutely shocked, and
A lot of us were.
afraid. And I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence. How is that possible?
Black man
But
in
after
America.
only hours of deliberation, a jury of his peers agreed with prosecutors that he did physically injure his then-girlfriend Grace Jabari in an incident last March.
What happened exactly, do you know?
No, I don't know. But she's unconscious.
That 911 call from Majors came hours after an argument broke out with Jabari in the back seat of an SUV when Majors received a text from another woman saying, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." Jabari testified that when she grabbed the phone, Majors tried to get it back, fracturing her finger and giving her a cut behind her ear.
Ooh.
She says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
How did those injuries come about?
I wish to God I knew.
Oh my gosh, really?
That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace.
Now, brother, that don't sound too good.
But you're confident you didn't cause
I have no
them.
question.
Surveillance video shows Majors getting out of the car, followed by Jabari,
A lot of people
whom he
ain't gonna
then
believe
puts
that.
back inside the vehicle. What happens next is what the defense remains focused on. Majors runs off, and Jabari chases after him.
If you watch those videos and you reverse that, and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street,
Yeah, that's a different narrative.
screaming and crying, that man is going to be shot and killed
Yeah, that's true.
in the streets of New
That's
York
true.
City.
That's true.
Majors' defense team shared these photos, which he says show the injuries he received that night, which were deemed inadmissible in court.
Wow.
How were you
Inadmissible.
My injuries were, I had a scratch on my hand, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard, I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my cheek from pressure, and that bled overnight.
But prosecutors say Majors was the aggressor. District Attorney Alvin Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court, prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. That's not something I would want my child to do, and I did that. I absolutely did that. And felt terrible about it.
The prosecution also played audio Jabari had recorded earlier in the relationship where Majors encouraged her to act more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama.
I'm a great man.
Oh, they're playing it. Oh, man.
I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman.
There are some who question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama?
Who was also a white woman.
Trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be.
Yeah, no, my brother. No.
These great men. Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. One of the things I also say is, like, I need her, in that case, Grace, to make the same sacrifices that I am making.
In a statement to ABC News, an attorney for Jabari said in part, it is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions, adding, the timing of these new statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for his actions.
Do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all?
I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship. I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car,
he didn't answer the question.
None of this is happening. If I leave the relationship, none of this is happening. If I'm man enough or brave enough to say, I want to see somebody else, or I'm done now, I'm not in that car.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
I'm responsible for those things.
Yeah, but
none of her injuries.
Can't say that. None of her injuries.
Sentencing is less than a month away. Legal analysts say it's possible but unlikely that he would get any time behind bars. He's already said he plans to appeal.
So he plans on appealing, and it's kind of unclear if he's actually going to go through the entire process. What do you guys think about this? I mean, I was a big fan of Jonathan Majors, and just him as a black man, you know, who's doing it in his career. And I remember at one point when Creed 3 was first coming out last year, I remember sharing on social media a photo of him and Michael B. Jordan. And I was just saying, man, it's so good to see some brothers, you know, who are good role models, successful in their career with no scandals. And literally a few days after I posted that, you know, this whole situation happened with him and his girlfriend, I was like, oh man. And like, there was like this collective, particularly if you were on Twitter, there was this collective, dang it, you know, when that kind of came out, it's like, we can't have no one. Hold on real quickly. You guys want to see something crazy? Over 99% of you guys that watch my content are not subscribed. So I'm asking real quickly, if you don't mind, just hit the like button and hit subscribe real quickly. I'd love to keep on giving this content to you guys and lets me know that people actually are interested. Feel free to do that, man. Really appreciate it a lot. Would help me out a long way in growing my small channel. Thanks. Now back to the video. But it's like, I had to take a step back and really like examine and just, I'd have conversations about it in private, but not obviously on my channel. And that's because you really have to look at all of the evidence and wait for all of the story to come out. Now, listening to him speak here, I mean, there's a lot of holes in the story. And she asked him a question directly about him taking responsibility, obviously, for his ex-girlfriend's, you know, bruises and so on and so forth. And the only thing he goes and pivots to is like, I just shouldn't have been in the car and all that kind of stuff. You know, and bro, I mean, at this stage, what do you have to lose except to tell the truth? It's already bad, and I still don't know if I fully 100% believe him. I mean, that's just me. Now, all of these things are obviously alleged and blah, 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 you know, and you only want to say so much as a commentator. But it's a sad day when we as black men being given the world and more opportunity than most black men will probably ever see, and opportunities that our ancestors worked so hard for us to have, for us to throw them away because of bad character or the ability not to choose a partner who is not going to cost us or bring out the worst in us and ruin our lives. But at the same time too, I mean, I don't know, I could be listening to it wrong, hearing it wrong. I don't hear a lot of responsibility being taken for, you know, what happened. He does kind of go into it a little bit and says, I should have left the relationship and so on and so forth. I'm still on the fence on whether he's innocent or not. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm on the fence. And it's sad, man, because if he goes to prison, if he appeals it, gets away with his bail or whatever, who knows. I also found it laughable that he's now trying to get his girlfriend, who is a white woman at that, and he's comparing how she needs to be like how Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama was, who are black women that were wives to great black men. It's like, bro, you gotta pick based on character, man. You can't tell her you need to be this. It's like she either is that or she's not. It's no kind of creating and crafting out of thin air, right? And coercion and beating her into submission and to do that. She's either that, she has those characteristics of those women that were married to those great men, or she does not. That's it. So that, when I heard that the first time, that clip, I was like, bro, that is a bad look for you. And that probably tells a lot more about what was actually happening in your relationship than anything. It's going to take a monumental effort for him to recover from this professionally. I mean, the court of public opinion is a very, very strong thing. And I think that's kind of what's going on here. And that's why it's going to be very difficult for anyone to really, truly believe him fully after this. I mean, this interview just dropped. I can imagine the comments already on social media. A couple of people saying, of course, he was shocked. Another user saying, men have a right to walk away too. I'm praying for you. You are real good. Another user, Bannerstein, saying, hashtag justice for Jonathan Majors. Candy Mullen, just giving the throwing up emoji. Flavio M. Souza saying, Jonathan Majors is completely innocent. Shame on the Manhattan DA and Alvin Bragg NYC for bringing this comedy to court. Fran says, I am so disappointed in GMA. Found guilty by a jury and you were giving this airtime. Shame, shame, shame. How about you give the victim instead of the victimizer? Can only say certain words on YouTube. Losing respect for this segment. And the last user says, GMA is now trying to portray this thug as a victim now. I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole interview with him coming forth for the first time? I mean, I don't really know what the purpose of this is at this time. You're not able to get ahead of the story now. You're not able to get ahead of the narrative. So what is it really, really about? Anyways, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. And until next time, peace.